Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing the Rivian R1T. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Nick over at Southtown Mitsubishi for giving me some time with his personal R1T. He just took delivery of this, I think about a month ago, roughly, but regardless, huge shout out to him. So if you're looking for a new Mitsubishi or a really cool pre-owned car, reach out to him. I'll include a link to Southtown Mitsubishi's website in the description down below. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Let's start things off by going over the EV specs. So we have a 135 kilowatt hour battery pack paired to a quad electric motor setup. Now, range with this is supposed to be in the 270 mile range, but the owner, Nick, has been getting closer to over 300 miles of range with this truck. And then when it comes to power outputs, it's 835 horsepower and then 908 pound-feet of torque. And then when it comes to the features, well, we'll start with the frunk, which is one of the big benefits of going electric, right? You don't have an engine up front, so you've got storage space up here, and we've got the window sticker in here, which we'll go over a little bit later in the video. But yeah, I mean, this is super practical, but I do need to mention that this particular frunk is having some issues. So I can press the button again to close it, and it actually closes this time. So sometimes what it's been doing is it will basically bounce back. I'll try to make a YouTube short of it doing it so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's one of the things on this. Anyways, moving from that, I love the Rivian badge. I've decided I'm a big fan of it. I think it just looks cool. And then the headlight design, I think also just super unique. I mean, you instantly know this is a Rivian because of the headlight design. You've got tow hooks here at the bottom, fog lights, and then you've got parking sensors as well. And putting it all together, the style has definitely grown on me. It has this really cool futuristic appearance. And with that being said, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, when it comes to the tire and wheel setup, it's 275, 65, 20 in the front and over in the rear. And if you're wondering why this has 20-inch wheels as an off-roader, it's because of the brake caliper and rotor setup. It's big enough that you have to have 20s on it. I don't think that's a problem though, because I mean, you've got quite a bit of sidewall with these all-terrain tires. I like the fender flare bodywork action happening here, and then you got the Rivian logo there on the side. You got the pop-out door handles here, and then we'll go over the gear tunnel in a little bit. But here's your full side view on the R1T. The suspension is lowered right now for entry exits. It actually kind of looks cool because it's like this lowered pickup truck appearance. But something that I learned because of Instagram, this right here is all one body panel. There was that Rivian that was on Instagram that got totaled because it got hit in the rear end, and you have to replace the whole thing up to the cab because it's all one panel. Now, accessing the gear tunnel is super easy. You just press this button right here and then it'll unlatch it, and voila, we have the gear tunnel, which obviously adds to the practicality of the R1T. And they had the cook set thing you could put on the gear tunnel. And by the way, this is storage underneath for those of you wondering, but it looks like they got rid of that. They have gotten rid of several options on the R1T, which we'll kind of talk about in today's video. But closing it's pretty simple. You just kind of plop it back into place. Tailgate is pretty simple, just like the gear tunnel. Just hold this button down for a second and then it'll lower the tailgate down. And like how you have this section right here that actually can pick up. But anyways, we've got quite a bit of storage space here in the back of the R1T. Again, this is pretty similar in size to most mid-size pickup trucks. And then we also happen to have this whole setup underneath the panel here for the air compressor, which is another cool feature here with the R1T. And then if you guys are wondering, on the other side with this panel, this is just a bunch of outlets. Now if you pull this latch right here, this will actually open up the extra little cargo area, and this is where the full-size spare lives out its life, and it's good that you can now get a full-size spare with the R1T. Now with the tailgate, it doesn't automatically raise up. You do have to lift it up yourself, but it's not hard at all. And then of course we have Rivian's signature light bar here on the back with our Rivian logo, R1T, and then you guys can see parking sensors here at the rear as well. Putting it all together, let me know what you guys think about the style on the R1T, but like I said, it's grown on me. I really like it now. Now, popping inside, we have really nice material use throughout here with the R1T. And look at the silver trim down below. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and the fit and finish is also really good. Everything is just really well put together here in the car. Then we of course have the seats, and again you got the Rivian logo. I love the look of the seats, and again, material use is really nice with them. Legroom here in the rear is really good. We've got a little storage pocket here, and then you guys can see we've got our own climate zone here for the rear passengers on either side, which is really nice. And then you have heated seats here for the back as well. And then we have arguably the coolest cup holder armrest in the car industry. Obviously it functions like a little cup holder armrest center console thing, but you also have access here to the gear tunnel through this little kind of cubby thing. So that's, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it's also really cool. And then for those of you wondering, headroom in the back of the R1T is also really good. Now the front door panel here is identical to the rear with the material use and everything that's going on with it. You can see all of our window controls right here. And then something to note is Rivian now makes their own sound system, so that's an interesting thing. I'll test it out and let you guys know what that sounds like. And then we also have blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then here's the front seat. You can see Rivian yet again, and then notice the material use all down the center. It looks really cool. Got your power adjustments. I love the floor mats, by the way, in the R1T. I think those are really neat. And we got our pedals down below. Even the dead pedal looks nice. It's all started up. Now before we go over the interior, the thing I want to mention is the key for the R1T. There's lots of different ways to get into this car, and one of the keys you can use is your cell phone. And so yeah, I have Nick's cell phone as the key. I think it's kind of cool. So we've got the steering wheel here, which is really simplistic with the overall design, and with the multi-control controls, I guess is what we'll call them. It obviously cleans up the steering wheel instead of having a bunch of buttons on it like a lot of other car makers will have. And then you got your regular turn signal windshield wiper stock, and then column shifter here on the back end. And then here's the center gauge cluster. Notice we got a little nav screen there on the side. And yeah, like I said, look at that, 96% charge and over 300 miles of range, when the window sticker states that it's supposed to get like 270 something. So I think that is quite impressive indeed. And then it's pretty cool when you put it in drive, how it like actually kind of like slants the Rivian down so it looks like it's driving with you. Now this does have a 360 camera system. As you can see, you got the bird's eye view, and then look at the trajectory lines that you turn with the steering wheel. It's not the best camera system in the car industry, but I mean, it's also not a huge pickup truck, and so I think it's good enough. Now here's our drive mode select. You guys can see we're in conserve right now, and then if we actually pop it into sport, it'll actually decrease the range shown. Yeah, look at that in real time. It's like, this is how much range you're gonna get. So that's pretty cool. You got your snow. Off-road obviously provides a bunch of different driving modes that you can go into. Apparently it doesn't want to go into off-road mode. That was weird. So I tried to like get this to do something, and it's just completely frozen on me. I can, so now it lets me, that's so weird. The screen, I mean, you guys saw that. The screen just like wouldn't let me do anything. But you got all the off-road modes as well. So yeah. Anyways, moving on, you guys can see we can do this to open up the hood, the charge port, which by the way is on the driver's side. I'll show that in another clip in just a moment. And then you guys can see with like the steering wheel adjustment, the mirrors, all that kind of stuff, the gear tunnel, tailgate. So it's easy to unlock all that. And then we do have the gear guard, right? Which is kind of like an alarm system with this. But overall, when the screen is working, it responds really well. As you can see, it's pretty easy to use, and you have the climate controls always available. Well, actually just on that side, but always available here on the bottom, and then also with the seats as well. You got heated and cooled seats up front. But there's the infotainment screen. And then here's a quick look at the charge port, and it does, of course, come with DC fast charging as well. Now, I've always thought this is pretty cool with the vent at the bottom, and then I love the dash. Like the wood trim and everything. I think it looks fantastic. And then also here at the top, again, the design and the material use in this is really nice. I've got the center console here, and then it looks like, yeah, this one's got the cool speaker that you can pull out as well. And then you got a ton of storage right here, and still no glove box. I don't know why Rivian doesn't put a glove box in this. I think that's so strange. But anyways, really nice headliner when it comes to material use. And actually I'll turn up the saturation here so you guys can see a little bit better with the headliner there. And then we do have a glass roof here at the top and all this stuff and everything. And also the grab handles look pretty cool. Okay, so back to that window sticker. This is an R1T Adventure Edition, and you guys can see the standard equipment on this and then the options as well. So base MSRP 73,000, but then you can see there's quite a bit added to it. Total MSRP $95,150, how this is spec'd out. And you can see 274 miles of stated range, even though it's apparently can get more, which is, I think, pretty cool. And, well, let's see if it'll do the bouncy thing. Nope, it closed again. Of course it works. Anyways, let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, which do a blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, as we are reversing off, I do want to mention, you guys probably noticed that the bed does not have a tonneau cover. And that is because Rivian doesn't offer the automated tonneau cover anymore. They have like a fold-out setup, like I think it's like a trifold or something. I'll be honest, I didn't do too much research into the tonneau cover side of things. I know that some of you might find that important, but you know, for me, I'm like, okay, they don't offer the automated one because it probably broke a lot, and so they're trying to put less items on their vehicle that break. Now the camera system actually helps out quite a bit because this is a tighter parking lot, and yeah, it makes it so it's a little bit easier to maneuver about. Now I am kind of upset that like the front trunk isn't doing the thing. So when Nick first gave the truck to me, he showed me the front trunk thing. Like literally what it does is he presses the button for it to go down, and then it just about closes and then rebounds back up and doesn't actually end up closing. It's kind of weird. But then as soon as I try to show it on camera, it's like the Rivian decides that it wants to just behave. So you just have to trust me that it happened. But you know, I don't see it as a big deal because honestly, stuff like that, it's going to be covered under warranty, and so it's like whatever. But the one thing Nick did say is that he has to wait like a month before this can even be looked at. So I guess that's a little bit of a downside with the whole situation. Sound system is another thing I want to talk about. So the sound system, I think it's just as good as what they had, the Meridian before. What I will say though is there was like some staticky sound with the speakers, and that's another thing that Nick said that he's getting checked out because obviously you don't want to have that with a sound system. So again, it looks like Rivian still has some, you know, things to work out with the truck, but I mean, again, all new company, all new vehicle, like they're gonna have stuff that they're gonna have to work out. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and you know, I mean, it's only what, the second model year, so let's hope by like model year, I don't know, 3 or 4, they have pretty much everything figured out. Well, we're getting up and moving yet again. It looks like that's a Polestar. Those are, I don't see those very often. But it's really, really smooth with the acceleration, obviously being fully electric. That Polestar just want to get around that person. Now they're trying to get back in. Sorry, Polestar, we aren't playing your games. Anyways, we'll pop it into the sport mode, so it'll lower. Obviously, we'll lose range. And the Rivian handles really well for a pickup truck. I mean, again, being fully electric, right? Center of gravity is low. And, you know, obviously having the quad electric motor set up, that means they can perfectly distribute power. So then it just like, it has this really cool handling feel out of corners. It's pretty crazy. And speaking of crazy, wow, that's fast for a pickup truck. That is insanely fast for a pickup truck. I mean, it's just fast for any vehicle. But like, this thing has a truck bed. It's just crazy. I mean, passing power on the highway, that was just partial throttle. You can get some serious trouble with this R1T. You could get into some serious trouble with this. It's really smooth on the highway. And this is the thing that's so confusing me, is because the R1S drives, no offense, but drives like crap. Like the suspension on that's just so harsh. Whereas the R1T, it's like everything's like sorted out. It's super smooth, it's super comfortable. Such a great vehicle. So to sum things up, if you buy a Rivian, there's a chance that you will have to deal with some, you know, early adopter quirks, right? It's a new company. With that being said, I think this is the best electric vehicle on the market right now. I am saying that, and I'm saying that as someone who's, you know, I'm not anti-EV. I just haven't been blown away by EVs. But this one, I think with everything that it has going for it, gosh, that's so crazy fast. I think that with everything this has going for it, it's a really cool vehicle, and this is an electric vehicle that I would be willing to own. I would not be willing to own any Tesla on the market that's sold right now. And so I think that's, again, I think that's saying a lot, because I'm not a huge EV person. I'm a hybrid person and an ICE car person. So the fact that Rivian was able to make a vehicle that I think is good enough that I would be willing to spend my own personal money on it, I think that says a lot. But let me know what you guys think about the R1T.